Hello. In this video I'm going to show you how to set up an account and use it on the Bitcoin over-the-counter marketplace. This is specifically for Windows 7, and we will be using GPG for Win. And you can get that at gpg4win.org. So just download the program real quickly. And once it's downloaded, you can just open up the installer. It's pretty basic to install. You can add this if you're looking to add it to your Outlook email. In general, I'd leave it just the way it is. Hit next, whichever ones you want. Install the application. And what this application will allow us to do is generate an encryption key, send it to a server so that people know what our public key is, and we can then register with our key to the over-the-counter marketplace. And it's just to ensure that we are who we say we are. And then just hit I want to manually reboot later. Now, if you go to your start menu and type in Cleopatra and open it up, this is one of the applications installed. And what we're going to do first is we're going to go to the settings and configure Cleopatra. And we want to make sure that if we go to GNU PG system and go to use keyservers at, hit edit, delete the one that's currently in there, and after you delete the one that's currently in there, add pgp.mit.edu, just like this. When you're done, hit OK, hit apply, hit OK. Now we need to create our own certificate, they call it. So we can hit new certificate, create a personal OpenPGP key pair, and now you can type either your name or your nick here. So I'll just say example key, and you need to put your email in. A comment is optional, but it can be helpful for you or others, like for example, that's my nick. I'll just hit next. Now, your passphrase does not need to be a password. It can be a phrase. For example, unicorns are very fluffy, which is much hard to guess. And even though it'll say that it should have one digit or special character, just having a long phrase is good, but you can add in the digit or the special character. I mean, it will be more secure, but I'm just going to go with this one. Okay. Now, it's a good idea to make a backup of your key pair or send it to your email, but for now I'm just going to hit finish, and what you need to do is you need to right click on this and hit export certificate to key server. That's okay. So now that has been submitted, we will go to the Bitcoin over-the-counter marketplace. You can use any IRC application. For simplicity, I'm going to use a web application. You can get to it by webchat.freenode.net. And you just type in Bitcoin-OTC. If you're coming from a different IRC application, the network is irc.freenode.net. We'll just log in real quick. And okay, so now that we're in here, we can either do our commands in this channel, or we can message Gribble right here. So let's just message him, and we will say, he's a bot, by the way, GPG e-register. And what this wants is it wants a nick to go by and a key ID. the key server we don't need to worry about because we used one that it checks by default. And what this is going to do is we are going to give it our nick, our key ID, and then it's going to give us an encrypted message, which we are going to have to decrypt and send back to it. Once we do that, it'll know that we are who we say we are, and this will keep anybody else from hijacking our identity. So if you go to certificate details, then go to technical details, and you see this ID right here, we need to copy this over to here. So we say GPG e-register test Gribble. You would really want to put your own nickname right there, just like you would have wanted to when we connected to Freenode. And now type the long ID, and just hit enter. And it'll say request successful, and then it'll tell you to get your encrypted OTP. So if you click right there, you'll see this long message, which looks completely incomprehensible. So if we just copy it all, now go down to your toolbar, and this can be here too, but right click on this, go to clipboard, decrypt verify, and now it'll ask you for your key that you used when you created your key pair. So type that in, and it'll say it's done. It'll say no signatures are found because it can't verify who the message came from, but that's okay. And it will now have put the decrypted version back into our clipboard. So if we say e-verify and type paste that in, it'll say registration successful. So we're now registered with Gribble, or the Bitcoin over-the-counter marketplace. So now what we can do is we can, if we unauthorize ourselves, I can show you how you would generally authorize yourself when you come into the channel. It's almost just like registering. You just type GPG eauth. Notice these are 2 semicolons before all these commands. That's telling the bot that it's a command that it should be paying attention to. So just do eauth and then type your nick, test Gribble, and it will give you another one. So if you just go here real quick, go to Cleopatra, clipboard, decrypt, finish, and just type GPG e-verify, and there you go. So the reason that Gribble is such a useful tool is because it lets you check the trust of other people within your web of trust. What this means is, for example, let's get a rating of the user Keith. We'll see that he's been around since November of 2010, has a cumulative rating of 435 from a total of 162 ratings. That means 162 people have rated him, and if we total up all the ratings, it's 435. Every single one was positive, 0 were negative. And he sent 165 positive and 5 negatives to others. Now, the only issue with get rating is that you don't know who rated them, and as long as you have 1 rating, you can rate other people. However, it is worth noting that you can only rate someone once. If you do it more than once, it'll just change your initial rating. So the way we would rate someone, if we type in rate real quick, is we would give a nick, a rating, and then we can give in some other notes if you want to. And the Bitcoin-OTC wiki has a little guide on how to rate people. So, say I were to rate him 1. Well, it turns out I have to have received some ratings from other people first. So when you do your first transaction, you will not be able to rate them until they rate you. Another thing that's worth noting is the get trust feature. And what this will do is it'll get the trust that there's 2 pieces here. Level 1 is what you said you trusted them, and because we've never rated them, it's a 0. Level 2 works like this. If you've rated user, let's say user A, a rating of 5, and user A rates user B a rating of 10, level 2 would be 5, because it'll be the minimum of those two. That means that if user A rates user B 5 and you've rated user A 10, it'll still be 5. And of course it'll add them up and tell you how many connections that's through. The other thing is, if you want to see exactly who's rated someone, you can go to the Bitcoin-OTC website, and that's bitcoin-otc.com, and hit Explore the Trust Database. And you can see all the ratings of different users. So if we skip to mine real quick, we will see that I have done transactions with 6 different people, and every time I've gotten a rating of at least 1 and often 2. But we can see that Cuttlefish, Kago, Atlas Elgo, Vragnaroda, Dcash, and Soaring Eagle are the people who have rated me. And we can see how trustworthy these people are. This person has received almost no ratings, whereas Atlas Elgo has received many, many ratings. And it looks like I'm probably pretty trustworthy. Another neat thing you can do with Get Trust is you can see how much I trust someone. So you could say Get Trust, Lols please, okay, thanks, Keith. And you'll see that I haven't rated him, but that via the people that I've rated, he's trusted with a rating of 2. So there's a lot of neat things you can do with Gribble. By the way, as soon as you disconnect, you will be logged out of Gribble, and you'll have to log in again with the eauth and the e-verify command. To show you a couple other neat things you can do with Gribble is, and this isn't related to trust, but you can type in, for example, bcmtgox. You want a comma between the two. And what this should do is it'll grab a big long ticker with different information about Mt. Gox right now. Or if you do Mt. Gox last, it'll just print the price of the last sell. So if you're trying to figure out how much $100 will buy you in Bitcoins, you can type calculate 100 divided by, and then in the little block, whatever you call them, type bcmtgox last, and that'll switch that out for the number and divide for you. Oh, and one other thing is, before you rate someone and before you have a transaction with someone, yes, check Get Trust, yes, check Get Rating, but also check that they're actually logged in. For example, if there was a user lols please k thanks on the server, and I typed identify with lols please k thanks, and you see that he's not identified, then asking Get Rating lols please k thanks, while he does have a rating of 10, we don't know that this is actually who he says he is. And an example of someone who is logged in, I believe, would be Nanotube, and we can see that he is identified as the user Nanotube. So if we say Get Rating Nanotube, we know that this rating actually applies to him. So that's about it. I hope this was helpful to you. Yep.